Okay, this is Miss Whitaker, and we're going to talk a little bit about percent of change. I'm just going to go over some of the problems on your notes and give you the how to set them up, and then give you the answers so you can double check your work if you want to do that. But your homework is going to be that front page of the second page, just the front side. The back side is something we can do in class if we get a chance. All right, so first of all, percent of change is the percent that an amount changes from its original amount. So we have a before amount and we have a later amount or an after amount, and we want to talk about how much it changed and what the percent of that change was from the original amount. So I want you to remember this formula right here. It's amount of the change. This goes on top. The original amount, which means the first amount, what was it to begin with, is the original amount, and that goes on the bottom. And that becomes our part over the whole, and then we just set it up like a regular proportion. Part over whole equals percent over 100. And then we can find that percentage of the change, whether it's an increase or a decrease. So let's do some examples. I'll show you how to use the formula, how to use that proportion, and also how to use a percent bar. So I'll set these up for you. On the first one, Marcy was having her 14th birthday party. At 2 o'clock, there were 10 people, and at 4 o'clock, there were 16 people. By what percent did her number of guests increase? So I'm looking for the percent of the increase for this problem. Now, she started out with 10 people, and then it was 16 people, so the first thing you need to figure out was how much did it change. Well, the change was 6 people, so that goes on top according to my formula, and then the original amount goes on the bottom. And I'm looking for the percentage, and the 100 always stays the same. So this is how I would set it up using my cross products. That's 600 divided by 10. And you should get 60, and that's 60%. It's a 60% increase. Now, using the percent bar, I'm going to have to erase just a bit here. You start with your 0% and your 100%. Now, the 100% was 10 people, but then it changed to 16 people. So I'm going to extend my bar, and it's going to be 16 people out here, and this is the percentage I'm looking for. So you can use those numbers to create your proportion. So I could do, using these numbers right here, I could do 10 over 16 equals 100 over x, and then figure out that's going to be 160%, but that's going to be out here, and then I can look at the difference between that is 60%. So that's how I would use the percent bars for that. Now let's move on to the next problem. Let me get rid of these. Just keep in mind that you can use the proportion or the percent bars to help you with your proportion. Let's do the second one. All right, yesterday in Boston, it was 60 degrees. The temperature dropped a little overnight, and today it's 54 degrees. By what percentage did the temperature decrease? So we had a decrease. We had a temperature that was originally at 60 degrees, and then it went to 54 degrees. So I need to find that percentage of that change, of that decrease. So how much did it drop? It dropped 60 minus 54 is going to be 6 degrees, and the original amount was 60 degrees. Equals percent over 100. That's going to be 60x is equal to 600. So x is equal to 10. So 10% decrease. If I were to use my percent bar, you start with your 0%, your 100%. Your 100% was 60, It went to 54, so that's about right here. So you're looking for this percentage right here. So you can set up your proportion that way. 54 over 60 equals x over 100, and solve it that way. All right, let's move on to the next one. Number 3, the Liberty Junior High Choir had 35 members this year. And this year they held, let's say, that's supposed to be last year, sorry. And this year they held a big membership drive and they had 50 members. So by what percentage did the number of choir members change? All right, so it went from 35 to 50. So it's going to be a percentage of the increase. It will definitely be an increase. Let's look at, see how many it changed. How many did it change by? So it went from 35 to 50. So that's going to be 15. So 15 is my top number. That's the amount of the change. And the original amount was 35% over 100. Do your cross products, and you should end up with 40%. All right, let's go to number 4. Mark collects comic books. He originally had 20 comic books, but he gave some to his brother. If he has 13 now, what percentage of his collection did he give to his brother? So we're looking at the percent of the decrease. So it went from 20 to 13, so that the change in the amount is 7, and the original amount was 20 equals percent over 100. You can solve it by doing 720x equals 700, or you can do 20 to 100 is times 5, so 7 times 5. So that's going to be 35% for your answer for that one. All right, let's go to the next one. Number 5, Walmart buys iPods from Apple for $120 each. The store then sells the iPod with a 55% increase. How much do they charge for an iPod? All right, so let's look at using a percent bar for setting this one up. All right, so remember, this is an increase. This is a markup. They're buying it from Apple cheaper than they're going to sell it, so they can make some money. So their markup is a 55% over what they paid. So 120 here, and that's our 100%. And then we're going to extend this out another 55, so up to 155%. So this is what we're looking for right here. So you can use those numbers to set up your proportion of 120 over 100, or 120 over x equals 100 over this, or you can do 120 over 100 equals x over 155. Either way, let's do 120 over x equals 100 over 155, and your answer should be $186. And that means they sell it for $186, they bought it for $120, so that's going to give them a $66 profit. So that's how they make their money. It's called a markup, and that we're using a percentage of the increase. All right, let's look at number 6. Ricardo bought a collector's edition DVD for $7. Months later, his best friend wanted the DVD but couldn't find it anywhere. So Ricardo offered to sell it to his friend for 30% more than he had originally paid. So he's doing a markup to make some money. If his friend accepts the offer, how much will he pay for the DVD? So our percent bar is going to look like this. We always start with 0% and 100%. The 100% was the original 7, but he's going to do it for 30% more. So we're going to extend this out to 130%, and we want to know what that amount is. So set up your proportion here. We can do 7 over x equals 100 over 130, or we could do 7 over 100 equals x over 130, and you should get $9.10. So hopefully, if you've been enjoying using the percent bars, just keep using the percent bars for these problems here. All right, number 7, Alex ordered a pair of Nike shoes that cost $24. His total with the shipping charge was $27. What percent of his total was charged for shipping? So we know it's $3. So what percent of his total was charged for shipping? All right, so $3 is the change. The original was 24. I can just look at that and know that it's also can be simplified to 1/8 equals percent over 100. And then I'm going to do 8x is equal to 100. And then I'll do the division. 100 divided by 8. And that's going to be on there. 12.5%. So 12.5% for shipping, which is the same thing as 1/8. So hopefully this will help you get started on your homework. Just do your best, set up your proportions and solve. Double check for common sense, and let me know if you have any questions.